Hi, and thank you for tuning in to the Daily Dose for Spiritual Growth. We've been talking about gifts this week, and I have an interesting verse for you today that you might not think of when you think of gifts. But I want to read to you about temptation a little bit. This is found in James chapter 1, starting in verse 13. Listen to what it says. When tempted, not if you're tempted, but when you're tempted. We're all going to be facing temptation in life. We're going to talk about that in January at Shrewsbury Assembly, but let's stick to the verse. When tempted, no one should say, God is tempting me. Have you ever thought about that? Let's go on. For God cannot be tempted by evil. Think about that. God is so pure that evil is not a temptation for him. He has no desire, there's no longing, there's none of that. He's void of temptation when it comes to evil. Nor does he tempt anyone. God does not tempt us with evil. But each one is tempted when by his own evil desire he is dragged away and enticed. And we know that's by the devil. Then after desire has conceived, it gives birth to sin. And sin, when it is full grown, gives birth to death. What an interesting process that describes. You know, I actually preached a couple months ago about sin, and I talked about how it always starts with a thought. And that the thought itself isn't necessarily sinful, it's what you do with that thought. But here it describes this process as it's the desire, when it's conceived, it gives birth to sin. And sin, when it is full grown, gives birth to death. Now you might be wondering, Pastor Sarah, why are you reading that? What does that have to do with gifts? Good question. Let's go to the very next verse. In verse 16, it says, "Don't be deceived, my dear brothers and sisters. Every good and perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of the heavenly lights, who does not change like shifting shadows. He chose to give us birth or salvation through the word of truth, that we might be a kind of first fruits of all he created." What a beautiful picture and what a beautiful reminder. You see, it was important to read that first section because sometimes we might struggle. Maybe you've struggled with when something bad happens in your life. You think, God did this to me. God is tempting me. God's trying to catch me in a struggle, or he's trying to get me to mess up. The Bible's clear. That temptation is not from God. But what is from God? Good gifts. God only gives good gifts to his children. And so as you're thinking about the things in your life that are good, the blessings, the fruitfulness that you have, the favor that you have, all the blessings, there's so many things to be thankful for. Those things truly come from God. What if we took some time today just to thank God? I know Thanksgiving was a month ago and that was the month of thankfulness, but really shouldn't thankfulness walk with us throughout the year? We truly have so much to be thankful for, especially at Christmas time. Take some time today and thank God for the good gifts. I know sometimes it's easy to focus on the bad things, the things that are lacking, the things that are broken, the things that have left us. But what about the things that remain? The greatest gift that God has given us is a personal relationship with him through Jesus Christ. When was the last time you thanked God for that? Hey, thank you so much for tuning in today. And I hope to see you again tomorrow, which is next year, for another daily dose for spiritual growth.